Can you have the third mic? No, there's no need of sitting. We need the energy. I think we need the energy. Do we need to sit? No. Okay. Nataka niwapiganishe hawa jamaa wawili. So, we have the government here, and we have the investor who is looking to invest in Africa. What do you want to say to this guy?
I'm listening.
I mean, he said it already, that where is the money? You need first an ecosystem. So if you want to invest in Africa, you need to support the ecosystem.
Now, this is my question.
Yes.
In the end...
No, I'm the one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
So they need to support what?
The ecosystem.
They need to support the ecosystem. And what do you want to tell the government?
In the end, I am still representing investors.
Okay.
These investors do not see the details of what we're doing. This is where language and the results are very invisible to them. For me, I must make these opportunities more visible, meaning I need more of these events. I need more contact, more communication. And that's the part that I see is the hardest part for me when you're talking to the investors that I represent.
Okay.
Dr. Mshinda, you can respond.
Yes, I think this is something which is happening now in Tanzania. A few years ago, we had only Buni. And one of the success, if you look at the Sahara Sparks, you have been to 14 universities, 12 universities. That's one aspect which is happening now.
Okay. DMM, they are not new to Africa. They own some sort of a shares, 2 companies in Rwanda. Why Rwanda? And what do you need to come to Tanzania this year? Why didn't you acquire 2 companies from here?
So the solution...
Remember, you're talking to the government.
Yes.
It's a policy maker.
When launching ABIC, Africa Business Idea Cup, 5 different countries, Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, and Tanzania, over a period of 2 months and a half. Every single location had a different feel to it. As a sociologist, what I was trying to do is look for an environment that is closest to the investors that I represent, who are Japanese investors. This is where my opinions don't matter. I must look at the opinions of my investors and find an environment that fits them the best. I have my own perspectives, but I represent them because they're the one footing the money. With Nairobi, when we went there, you have to explain to a Japanese investor that, oh, Nairobi is safe, but then you had instability that took place there. So this is where it was hard to explain to them. When moving towards Zimbabwe, you have to look at the currency issue that took place there. When moving towards Zambia, there isn't that much collaboration between Japanese investors going on there. But then let's take Luanda, for example. Who is the president of Luanda that we all know very well?
Paul Kagame.
Mr. President Kagame. Working with universities such as MIT, working with Carnegie Mellon, going to different countries such as Japan, similar to what Singapore was doing, to pitch to the different governments on why they should come. Leveraging the resources that they have. Following the genocide, they have a high number of people who moved to Japan from Luanda, leveraging that base of people to actually lobby, to push, to bring outside investors to come see the country. Come see once, you see it, you fall in love with it, you find a reason to invest because you want to stay and be connected. So that's the part that I don't see quite often, which is a lot of investors are going, but the ones who are being invested in are not reaching out and going to these individuals. It takes a conversation to do so. The reason why we were able to even do this, sponsor Sahara Sparks itself, is because we have Alex Kapungu. as Jumaine mentioned before. Young man from Tanzania, grew up, studied at Tokyo University, got his master's, went to our chairman and was pitching for East Africa. He didn't pitch for Tanzania, he pitched for East Africa first.
Can you pause there? You should clap for Alex. Alex, could you come on stage? Please.
And this is very important. He didn't pitch for Tanzania, he pitched for East Africa, which is where he knows best. And from the countries in East Africa, we slowly broke it down to a set of countries that we know are closer to Japan, and this is where Luanda stood out, given the high relationship with Japan. And we knew if we were to push Luanda, it would yield a higher success. But now when you're in Luanda, you can expand. You have Kenya with Jomo Kenyatta, for example, expanding to Luanda. Tanzania with Dar es Salaam, it's the entry to East Africa, aside from Mombasa. Meaning that when we're looking from an investment perspective, we're not looking at a country, we're looking at the countries in East Africa, creating this network where we can see results in the long term. If it's short term, I usually tell people, I'm not interested. If it's long term with results, I'm in. Long term with tangible results, not the money, although my investors don't like it when I say that, but the results that will impact the people. So now we're looking at Luanda, but of course we have our eyes on Kenya, and of course we have our eyes on Tanzania, which is why we're here today.
Thank you so much. So, Alex, being a Chips My Eye guy, a Mzumbe boy, an old friend, what do you have to say to Dr. Mshinda? You were the one who went there and pitched that they should come to East Africa, possibly Tanzania also. So what do you have to say to him? What should we put in place so that we can attract more investors to come to this country?
Can you hear me? That's a hard question. But as Stephane said, I think the key thing about Rwanda is that they're very active in going out themselves and getting investors. Like, they don't wait. And they create this environment where you are basically forced to do something about it. So I think that's a start. Like, Sahara Sparks is good and all, but it's still based very much here in Tanzania. For instance, I'll give a concrete example. We have an ICT chamber, they have an ICT chamber in Rwanda, and they have guys who go to Japan, actively finding companies and saying, this is what we have in Rwanda, and this is what we can do for you, please come. And this is what we're gonna give in return. That's something I haven't seen in any other country. So I think if the government is willing to take that extra step, that extra mile, and form an ICT chamber even, just for ICT companies.
Yeah.
And have people going to Japan, start other countries as well, and saying that we can do this. This is the IT ecosystem in Tanzania, please come. I think that would be a good way to attract companies like us.
To add on very quickly, before I pass, we have to also understand these countries who are investing. Let's take Japan. Japan has negative interest rate. What is the interest rate in Tanzania when you go to a bank? You can go up to 14, 15.
14, 20, 18.
In Japan, negative interest rate. If you don't invest, you lose money. Meaning a lot of these investors are looking for somewhere to put this fund. If they leave it in Japan, they lose money. You have, when you're in China, you have a stock market in China where startups have to go to a lottery and go to IPO because there are too many startups wanting to IPO. So investors have a surplus of income that they don't know what to do with. So this is where a lot of countries were very strategic in going to Japan, going to China, talking with the officials, bringing them to visit, creating those business, those study tours. They see the country, and then this is when people are willing to invest.
So Seba is about to kill me. Let's wrap this up. Dr. Mshinda, you heard the two gentlemen, young, energetic, and this is not the future of Africa. This is present. This is present. Okay. Can you respond to them and we wrap this up for good?
Yes, I think it's, you should understand that to put the ecosystem in place is not something which you can do in a day. And that's one. And also remember where we came from, where the government was doing everything. The private sector is only recently we start to recognize the role of private sector as the engine of the growth. If you talk about financing, we are used to get money from the government, but more recently when starting with innovation, we have been starting to see some of our development partners put in funding. For example, the HIDIF has put about 30 million pounds in Tanzania for innovation in health, education, and water and sanitation. The government is also going to do the same. For example, is actually doing the same. From this year onwards, we have now, at COSTECH, we have a window of innovation where Finland is going to put about 9 million pounds. These are development partners. We need now to attract you as investors. We don't have angel investors, we don't have VCs. So how can we bring in you? We need to create an enabling environment. We have about 400 acres of land to establish a technology park along Bagamoyo in EPZA. What we are going to do there, we have paid the compensation, we have done all the surveys. The Korean government is going to put in about $40 million to put this park. So we now want to create a space, talking about these MIT, Carnegie Mellon. We are now talking with other universities in the Asian, like Lim Kong Kwing, universities who are very good in gaming, to put their presence in that park. We are also going to put our incubation, which is now going to grow in many universities, not only universities, but also in municipalities to be in the same place. To me, what I need to know from you is how can I attract you also to be located in those areas? So this is just the beginning.
Conversation. They will have a follow-up conversation. Thank you so much, Dr. Mshinda. Thank you so much, Stephane. Thank you so much, Alex. I'm looking forward to have DMM Africa in Dar es Salaam Science Park in Bagamoyo, EPZA. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice.